filming here tonight or photos here tonight. Anyone that doesn't want to be filmed or photographed, if you could let me know prior to starting to talk, and I'll make sure that that happens. You don't have to be filmed or photographed if you're speaking to us. The way that I'll read this out and the way that it will work is once I've read out the public participation statement, I'm going to simply ask for a show of hands as to who would like to speak, and we'll go from there. There's a designated 20 minutes. I don't have a timer. We'll see who wants to speak out there, and we'll just go from there. So I'll read it out. Public participation. We welcome parishioners speaking or making representations, asking questions or presenting petitions at the meeting of the full council in respect to any issue affecting the Northam Town Council area.
I'm sure you understand that the neighbourhood plan is not one person's idea of the future of Northam Parish, or even just the town council's view, but it is the community's view. It belongs to you, me, and all of us here today. This premise is set out clearly in government guidance on neighbourhood plan, that parish or town council should work with other members of the community who are interested in or affected by the neighbourhood plan proposals to allow them to play an active role in preparing the plan. It is good practice for town or parish councils to set up subcommittees or steering groups which include other members of the community, and such members must have voting rights in accordance with the Local Government and Housing Act. Therefore, the council is to be congratulated in setting up a steering group which, under terms of reference, was to be in place for the duration of the preparation of the plan up to and including the examination. So not being allowed to vote on a contentious issue at the October steering group and then at the very next town council meeting on the very next day to be told that the steering group was disbanded left many upset and in many cases angry that they are no longer able to serve as full members of any form of subcommittee or steering group in completing the plan. The council, in doing this, has appeared to have abandoned that close working relationship with the community, and instead of addressing any problems on how the steering group was working, has seemingly seen it as an impediment to progress to be got rid of. The council has moved from good practice, in my view, to poor practice. And the plan is not yet completed. There is still a matter of editing and ensuring a robust good evidence base is in place and ongoing work on affordable housing to complete. The next stage of pre-submission consultation is also likely to attract many comments seeking changes to plan policies, where that now lost community input will be invaluable. The community needs to be actively involved in all stages of the plan's preparation to ensure it is both supported and successful. As well as we all know, under the current subcommittee arrangements, it is almost impossible for members of the community to make complex planning points in the 3 minutes allowed. Some find it very difficult to speak at all in such a forum. This is not the community playing an active role as set up in government guidance, and is nothing more than the most limited form of participation. It is no substitute for being directly involved by having an influence in discussion, preparation and decision making in the neighbourhood planning process. This current way of working is flawed, as it would deprive the council of essential community input and expertise at the current and next crucial stages in preparing the plan, and could permanently damage the relationship between many members of the community and the town council. Finally, it is contrary to the spirit of government guidance on the preparation of neighbourhood plan, and could even leave the council open to challenge at the independent examination. I therefore ask you, for the sake of our neighbourhood plan, to support Councillor Haynes' motion. Thank you very much.
Friends, neighbours and councillors, this house has always felt like a home to me. I see the names of friends and neighbours of my family. I can even see my great uncle's name on the board behind you. In 20 years, this is the place that I've always come to support and help all those good causes that I've worked for in our parish. And that is why I feel so sad tonight. Sad that a person of standing in this house claims that I, or any one of my friends, are liars just because we care for our community. Councillors, not interested in personalities. And frankly, my dears, I don't give a damn who chairs the neighbourhood plan. And even if I get the chance after tonight, I will serve on it, but only if members wish it. There's one thing you need to know. I might get things wrong, and I may offer opinions. We all do. But I am a children's author, and I am a role model. My friends, children's authors don't lie. Now I've got that bit over, please, councillors, I urge you, like me, to put aside personalities and past differences and vote tonight, not for your friends, but for your parish. Councillors, our neighbourhood plan will shape our parish for many years to come. Like it or not, these policies will affect our lives, our homes, and our children. And that's why we care about it. I call it our plan because it's about us, about all of us. And in that sense, it belongs to us. Councillors, this plan is not private property. It belongs to all of us. And now you see why your friends and neighbours here are angry tonight. Because it's their plan too. And they feel that their future, their plan, is being taken away from them. Councillors, as part of your consultation, I imagine that one of you will need to visit our local schools and talk with the pupils and teachers, parents. So tell me, councillors, tell me, which one of you is going to tell those little kids that their mums and dads are not wanted on their own neighbourhood plan committee? Councillors, the people of Northam have spoken just by coming here. They want their plan back. So this vote is really about giving all of us ownership of our plan. All of us. We are the people who pay your taxes. We are the people who vote for you. And councillors, the message is clear. If you don't vote for us, we won't vote for you. Councillors, this isn't good. Right now we have conflict. How can we resolve this tonight? How can we move on to better and happier times together? Well, the answer is here. Look, right here on your wall. You see that? Behold, Concordia Vincit. Where there is unity, there is victory. That is your motto. We, all of us, live in Northam Parish. Our unity is all we want. We want the very best for Northam Parish, don't we? We all do. We live here together, and no matter how you vote tonight, we are all going to be here living together in the future. That means we must be friends. We have to unite to make the plan happen. We must be team players, and that must mean we need a team. We must be a team. And there's no point in playing cricket if half the players are locked out of the ground. All that means is that week after week, meeting after meeting, we will continue to hammer on your door until you let us in. Does any of us really want that? Councillors, the people of Northam want public representatives on their neighbourhood plan. Graham Townsend, the consultant, the government, anyone you care to ask will tell you there is no harm in allowing it. He will tell you it's good practice. They don't think it's so terrible in South Molton or Braunton or Torrington or Fremington. So why, in God's name, is it so terrible here? Why should Northam be the only community in England to allow and then to exclude public representatives from voting on its plan committee? Of course, Chris is worried that it will harm the plan in some way. I'm finishing up, so let the public representatives resolve to be considerate and extra careful not to delay things, and let Chris, as chair, do his gracious best to work in harmony with them. Let's have a really inclusive committee with public members we can all be proud of. One committee, one community, one plan. Let's do it together for Northam Parish. Councillors, please vote for this motion. Thank you.
I didn't want to be here, I didn't want to come and speak, to be perfectly honest with you, although I love speaking. But, following the statements I've seen on Facebook about the Northern Neighbourhood Plan, that's why I'm doing this. I've attended that group since August 2017. So, yeah, sorry Chris, on and off, absolutely right, as a lot of people have been on and off, which brings me to a point. We were there, and I've got absolute respect for Mr. Leather, the Councillor Leather. The group were discussing an amendment to the tourism policy, which was NNP 18. There's lots of details in this. Whilst we were discussing it, it was a question of one simple word, and it was not agreed. And we were going to a vote on the word, and the chairman absolutely refused for us to vote on it. Now, there was no announcement this was going to happen. It was just, the meeting was ended. We were told we weren't allowed to speak. There was going to be no vote. We were going to Northam Council the next day. None of us had any, we had no idea this was going to happen. We didn't give our consent to it. We weren't allowed to speak. The radiators were turned off, the lights were going to be switched off, and we had to leave. So it was quite shocking, and we didn't really know why or what was going on. Now, it might be said that the committee was disbanded because Appledore was overrepresented on the committee. But on many occasions since 2017, there's been numerous people, loads from Westwood Ho, loads from other places, but no one's ever said, oh, you can only have so many, so that struck me as being a bit odd. Now, you might have been said that the plan was almost ready, so it no longer needed the public, and that isn't really true. And we still had to agree scope and views for NNP 5, and it goes on. There's lots of things, the affordable home policy as well. So we needed to be there to agree it. We didn't really understand what's happened. And to pretend that this plan is nearly ready is a bit of a fantasy. That isn't true. So we're just asking that 4 members of the community are allowed onto the committee. And as it's already been said, they're allowed in South Molton, Braunton, Fremington, Torrington, so why not here? I do not know. Now, it's been allowed for the steering group, so, you know, why are you so desperate that we can't be on it? And it makes me wonder what you're scared of, what you're hiding, what's going on. Hopefully nothing, but it makes me wonder what's being hidden. And the things that have been said on Facebook about the councillors, it's not good. So, you know, you're here to support us, we're here to support you. We're a community, we're all working together. Currently, it's not good, that's why everybody's here. So we're here, we're demanding it. There's no law against it, won't cost you anything. We are the people voting for you. We pay your taxes, we keep going, why not give us what we're here asking for? Now, believe it or not, making the plan-making process more inclusive will actually benefit the plan. It will stop us demanding public representation at your next meeting. It will bring councillors and public into agreement and help us to unite to bring the plan to success. So this has all been written very nicely as I'm writing it out. What I'm really saying is, what the hell is going on? What the hell is going on? Get on with it, sort it out, get us back on the steering group and get it sorted out for the good of the community. It's Sylvester, and I live at...
I need to point that out.
Okay. I live at 2 Holt Cottages. I came to live in Appledore, I calculated it 34 years ago. I've brought up 3 children here who've been to Appledore School. I've had at least 3 businesses, and I presently run a community group, all to do with sustainable fishing. And I think most of you, or some of you, may know that. But what you may not know is that I'm also a trained town planner, and that in 2002 I was appointed to run a pilot about what we're going to call parish plans. And I ran that for the Countryside Agency, the Cornwall County Council and the District Council that employed me as a planning officer. We were contracted to do 15 of these community plans. And as I left, which had with 15 completed, 25 of the community were working on their plans. So I've had plenty of experiences of all different sorts of town council meetings and issues and problems with who's on the committee and who isn't. And I think it's the most important thing is to welcome people, like you did today very nicely, to welcome us here, to actually work together and to create the best neighbourhood plan you can possibly do. We have got 4 areas really, but 3 lovely villages, all very different, and then a residential area, and to put those together and to work together for the future, for the next 20 or 30 years in a plan is a really good opportunity. After I finished that work, I went on and advised and worked with regional people and national people about how the neighbourhood plans would work. And I would be really disappointed if this community doesn't do a really good one. Okay? I would like to say that I've got plenty of experience of actual neighbourhood plans that are being completed now in other places as well as in Devon. And there is an excellent one, which I can just give you a little snapshot of, where they do have at least 6 members of the community on their plan, and then 2 councillors. So that's quite a tight group, but they work with lots of working groups. And we, on our neighbourhood plan website, talk about working groups and how we will support them. And I think that's important to review the existing first draft of policies with working groups and to really get together and think about what's going to happen here in the next 20 to 30 years. Okay? The other thing that I'd like to suggest is that we use the neighbourhood plan website as a consultation tool. That information is put on, that we have some sort of consultation plan so that people can really see what's being discussed and can make representations to those 6 community people, or in our case it would be 4. I think it's a great idea that we have a business person. Employment for young people and everybody in this area is really, really key. So I would like to commend, ask the councils to vote for Councillor Haynes' motion and put 4 community people back onto our plan.
I'm probably like the others, I don't think I need a microphone. My name is Joy Smart. My address is 42 View Street, Appledore. I'm Secretary to Appledore Residents Association. And until the 30th of October last year, I was a member of the Neighbourhood Plan Steering Group. As I think Angie suggested, I too, I feel really sad to be standing here and having this conversation because I don't think we should have got to this point. On the 30th of October, we were, as Angie's beautifully described to you, we were dismissed from having a meaningful role on the steering group. We didn't really get an explanation. I don't know why it happened, apart from the fact that there was a disagreement, and again, a very small disagreement. But the fact was, we were all dismissed. I came along the next day, and for various reasons, I didn't speak when I could have done, and then I was not allowed to speak. So again, we don't know why we were not wanted anymore. A month after, on the 3rd of December, we did have a letter that Councillor Leather wrote to all the steering group, supposedly saying why this had happened. And I read it again this evening, and all I could pick out from it was that we hadn't gone fast enough. But actually, we had. We were on track, so I didn't understand that. I also, at the last council meeting, people may remember I did ask for an explanation in writing as to why we had been dismissed. I understand what the town clerk said about her illness, and I appreciate that. I did get a response, but the response didn't actually answer my question. So I still don't know why we weren't wanted. So the steering group was wound up. It was doing that was in breach of the terms of reference. We had no notice. We weren't consulted. There was no consent. And I'm speaking for the Residents Association here. I'm sorry, our chairperson can't be here. She's elsewhere. She's in Luxembourg, actually. And I think we all feel sad and not a little angry that Appledore is now not represented on the steering group. On the steering group, you have a group of people from the public who are absolutely passionate about protecting and working as hard as we can to protect what we have in this area. And it's incredibly precious, and we're scared that we're going to lose it. So we want something in place that is robust and that's going to help us. And we're all passionate about it. So I am willing to stand. There are 3 others that are willing to represent Appledore, Westwood Hoe and Northam, and we do have a business representative if you do what we are asking, and that is to vote for this motion. It just seems silly when you've got a group of people who are passionate, willing to serve, we're doing it as volunteers. It just seems rude and churlish to dismiss us and lock us out of what is our neighbourhood plan.
Right. It's proposed that in addition to the present councillor membership, that 3 members of the public should be co-opted onto the Northern Neighbourhood Plan subcommittee to serve on that body and to be drawn from each of the 3 wards in the parish. It is also proposed that 1 business representative should be co-opted onto the subcommittee. Councillor Haynes, did you want to start this?
Oh, yes, thanks. Yeah, I'd just like to start thanking all the members of the public here tonight to show their feelings, and it's heartening to have your support as I take it for the resolution tonight. Thank you very much. Yeah, just to start, it's just a bit of a technicality. The resolution that I put on here is not to reverse a decision, it's to actually add to the terms of reference of the subcommittee for the neighbourhood plan. And as you know, it proposes 3 members of public and a member of the business community. So and I should say that we've recently done a similar thing with the climate change committee. We've added an extra councillor to that committee to go in terms of reference. So it's a similar sort of suggestion in technical terms. You've heard about the background to this, why we've got to this stage. I'd like to emphasise very much how much work, particularly the Councillor did on this, producing the policies for the Neighbourhood plan on the steering group. I worked hard, many hours, and other councillors too. But I'd also like to emphasise that there was an equally strong and vital input from members of the public. This should sort of lead you to hopefully the right answer on this resolution. You know, this plan is the result of that joint effort and that cooperation between councillors and the public, and particularly I should commend Nick Arnold, who worked hours and hours on the green space and historic assets policies in the plan. As Angie Whittaker said, we were all shocked in the October meeting. We were not allowed to go to the vote on one particular policy. All the other policies have been thoroughly discussed and consensus reached on them. But the tourist policy had been subject to considerable debate on the question of how well it protected green spaces in Northam Parish. These are honest and serious concerns, bearing in mind that the central thrust of the plan is to protect what is left of our local green areas. Now, I can't imagine that other neighbourhood plan groups have not experienced disagreement when preparing their own plans. Quite bluntly, that we should not have been refused a vote on that policy. Terms of reference stated that if consensus couldn't be reached, then a vote should be taken. Also, the meeting should not have been wound up. The differences which are on display should have been resolved by the vote. In terms of reference, which I should emphasise were approved by the full council, also state that the steering group should have remained in place until the independent examiner's report is published, which I should point out is right at the end of the neighbourhood plan process at stage 7. And I should remind you that we are at the moment still in stage 3 of the process, that is the pre-submission public consultation stage of the plan. Apparently, as I understand it, the Chair justified terminating the meeting by claiming it was dominated by Appledore representatives. My comments are that consensus had been reached on most other policies at previous meetings when the same representatives were present, and that as some of those policies related specifically to Appledore, so therefore input from Appledore representatives was relevant. However, it is important to state that regarding all the draft neighbourhood plan policies, I detect no bias towards the interests of Appledore, and I don't think anyone who has read the policies is claiming that this is the case. If there was concern about lack of representation on the steering group from the other boards, then the answer should have been to actively seek out such representation and not to wind up the steering group. And indeed, the terms of reference allow for a review of membership from time to time. But now we are where we are. I've given you the background, and possibly you can understand the concern and, I'm afraid, anger that's come out of this. So I now commend my resolution to members. The National Planning Framework and official guidelines on preparing a neighbourhood plan state that there should be a shared vision and full public engagement in the process. And our council recognised this right from the beginning. That is why members of the public were co-opted at the steering group, and I've related how the draft plan is very much the result of that engagement. It is also clear from the strong public reaction tonight against discontinuing that engagement that participation should be restored by co-opting members of the public onto the Precedent Subcommittee. Despite what our planning consultant says and others may say, there is still much work to be done on the final part of the plan, including the evidence base and then dealing with what could be many responses to policies at the pre-submission stage, and then possibly to questions arising from the examination of the plan. Public involvement on the committee is vital for this process, and especially previous members of the steering group can be co-opted so that their detailed knowledge of the policies will be drawn upon, and we can once more work together to finish the plan. I therefore urge members to vote for my resolution.
clap while we discuss it. You may clap or not clap at the end, but I just want us to have this discussion in sort of a really fluid way. Councillor Laws.
Wow, look at you all here. I couldn't believe the amount of people here tonight, which is a credit to people who care. Equally, I want to draw a line tonight. Throwing stones at one particular councillor because he may or may not have made a mistake and will not follow your wishes. Enough tonight. After tonight, Councillor Leather gives all his time to council work. He's taken on the most unpleasant, and it is unpleasant, chairing a planning committee. It's not easy. He has great skills. Now, you may think that I'm now supporting Councillor Leather. I'm supporting him as a fellow councillor, and I dislike bad language and pointing the fingers. Now, I would like to support Councillor Haynes, but I can't in its present form. I want to table an amendment, and I'll give my reasons for tabling it. He says, and I was full of hope, 3 representatives, which effectively would be 1 from Appledore, 1 from Northam, and 1 from Exeter. And I just took the trouble today because I was amazed. I hadn't realised because I've lived all my life, I think, in 3 villages. And yes, we are still 3 villages, but we've got 12,425 voting residents, which is quite amazing. And I feel that this has become so emotive that the amendment on the table is that we just have 3 representatives, because as soon as we have 4, here we go again. Now I know technically we need a business representative, but we are well under the plan, and here I declare an interest. The plan is not my sort of thing. I'm sorry, I haven't represented Westwood Hill on the plan until now, and I should. But I do have to say what the work, I do so admire that you've been on it, because it's almost like 10 1 or 2 meetings. It's like watching paint dry. And the bloody stuff won't dry. My amendment is that it's 3, 1 from each village, and I'm sure that. Why? Because 4 is bound to be somebody from one of those villages. Thank you, Chair.
Does anyone have Councillor Shelley?
Yes, thank you. I do support Councillor Haynes' motion. I do also support the idea of a business representative. I do feel that we need a voice of someone who's actively involved in business to give that perspective, if you like, on the implications the plan might have for the business community. And I have seen in other areas what business people can do to inspire and help projects to happen. Beyond that, I just want to thank you all for coming. You've come for the very best of reasons, and it puts a huge smile on my face, because this is exactly the sort of engagement we want from the community, and it's fantastic. So I do hope that, you know, we'll feed off this and benefit in the future from this sort of support. It really enthuses me.
In effect, we'll put the process back for 3 months at least. And for what point, when we've got the policies already there, we just say the housing on the ground. And it's just a case of formatting that and put in an action that we've already got ready to go before the process. So I can't see yet more delay by voting for this tonight. It just is more delay. Nobody wants to keep, in actual fact, the steering, the subcommittee is far more open than the steering group was. Because the steering group was a closed shop, on a public meeting, the public couldn't come. So the subcommittee, the public were welcome to come.
The public were on.
So I could have told you pages and pages of what's gone on and why it ended up like it did last year. But we've got a timetable here that we've set out. By now, this, what here, Councillor Linda's put it in. By now, on the timings we have, by December 19, the plan should have been made. It should have been there now. It was still sometime later this year now. But if you want to delay it further, that's what
I think
Yeah, just a couple of points really. This issue of time, I think fundamentally you need to get this right before you the inconvenience of a few months or a bit of time. This is just outrageous, and we're all in this linear time, clocking time. This is about people in their communities. So I think that just has no way to talk. It's about the people, and if it took 2 more years, then I think, then I would do that, because it needs to be right for the people who live there and represent it. I also think, and I just want to raise this question, given the Woodard development which has been passed, that there may be a conflict of interest between your chairing the neighbourhood plan and also the Torridge District Council planning.
Why don't you turn up for more meetings?
Sorry, hold on a moment.
Point of order.
Wait, what we're going to do is I'm going to let Councillor Leather come back on that, then I will move to Councillor Sargent. I hope.
My role as chair of plans at Torridge has nothing to do with the neighbourhood plan. Absolutely nothing to do with it. It has no effect whatsoever on that. Northam Town Council have their plans committee, and I've stepped off that for very good reasons. And they make recommendations. Where was Councillor Bell when we formulated these policies? He's never been to any meetings.
He doesn't turn up for meetings.
So it's easy to get up tonight after being on this council since May and missing many meetings, I'm afraid. I don't know, I've been to one steering group meeting. It's open to all councillors, the steering group is open to all councillors. But it's a bit rich of Councillor Bell to try and criticise me when he's not even bothered turning up to everything.
I'm sorry. I do an amendment on the table as well. Currently, your proposal hasn't been seconded.
Oh, no one's going to second.
It has not been seconded.
Yes,
I was going to say, before we go to the vote.
Yeah, we're a bit annoyed really. But, you know, Councillor Leather seems to be saying that all the delay was on people on the steering group, sort of picking and nitpicking about everything. But I really don't take that sort of the correct perception. I think really rather resented actually. People were really honestly concerned about protecting this area, particularly the green spaces, and we had honest concerns about the words of the policies, and the words are very, very important, and it's very important to get it right, because if you just get 1 or 2 words wrong, the developer is going to slip right in there and exploit that and that. It's very important, and I take down Councillor Bell's point about the time involved. I mean, someone said the average time is 18 months to 2 years. Well, we're about on that, despite what's being said. And also, I don't really want to say this, but sometimes I felt that my points were not being accepted, and I had to struggle to put them forward. And I found myself at a following meeting trying to put the same points again and still not being taken up. And I think that is an important point to make. We need to have a committee that works together, and all points need to be taken on board and fully discussed. Having said all that, we need these people on the committee. The plan emerged from public participation, and it should carry on with that public involvement. We need to be transparent and open to the community and involving everybody. So I'm hoping that you'll vote for my motion.
amendment to the proposal and a proposal on the table. The amendment was proposed by Councillor Laws and seconded by Councillor Edwards, and I will read that out in full so everybody is aware what they're voting for. And then we have the proposal proposed by Councillor Haynes, seconded by Councillor Bell, and again when we get to that I will read that out in full so everyone can be very, very clear. Oh.
Sorry,
yeah.
But when I spoke, I proposed also an amendment to have 3 business representatives from the different areas.
Yes.
So,
okay, bear with me just one moment, so we need to...
I don't want to stop it.
No,
I think it's important.
I believe that...
One from each area.
I believe that wasn't seconded, so do I have to deal with that? I'm sorry, it's important we get this in the right order and do it correctly.
Or does anyone want to second this?
I'll second that.
Right, so we have an amendment again to the original. Let's take it to the vote. So, I'm going to read out what I think your proposal is. If I am wrong, I want you to correct me. Okay? So I'm just going to slightly alter the original proposal to what I think you meant by your proposal. It is proposed that in addition to... Oh, sorry, I'm just going to need complete silence while I do this because it's really important that all the councillors know exactly what they're voting on. Right. It is proposed that in addition to the present councillor membership, that 3 members of the public should be co-opted by the Northam Neighbourhood Plan Subcommittee to serve on that body and be drawn from each of the 3 wards of the parish. It is also proposed that 3 business representatives should be co-opted onto the subcommittee and to be drawn from the 3 wards of the parish. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. We will now vote on that amendment. All those in favour of that amendment, can you raise your hand? 2. All those against, can you raise your hand? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All those abstaining from that amendment, can you raise your hand? 2. Do those numbers add up?
Yes, 3.
3 abstentions.
Oh, 3.
So, yes.
Yeah.
2 in favour, 7 against and 3 abstentions. 7, 9, 12.
Happy? Right, so that amendment falls. So now we move on to Councillor Laws' amendment. And again, Councillor Laws, I'm going to read it out. Correct me if I read it wrong. It is proposed that in addition to the present councillor membership, that 3 members of the public should be co-opted by the Northam Neighbourhood Plan Subcommittee to serve on that body and to be drawn from each of the 3 wards of the parish. Full stop. Is that correct? Right, we will now vote on that amendment. All those in favour of that amendment, raise your hand. All those against? 1, 2. We have no abstentions? Right, so that is now carried, so we do not now hear Councillor Haynes' proposal. So I'm going to read that out so everyone is very, very clear what has just happened. It was proposed, it was seconded, and it has been voted on by 10 to 2 that the following will happen. In addition to the present councillor membership, that 3 members of the public should be co-opted by the Northam Neighbourhood Plan Subcommittee to serve on that body and to be drawn from each of the 3 wards in the parish. That is what we voted on. That is what is passed. Now, before we move on to the next item on the agenda. How is it worth investigating? No, another meeting. Yeah. At another meeting, because we do have an agenda to get through, and I'm exceptionally conscious of the time, the council will decide how we go about co-opting those members. Okay? I think that's the best way to do it. Let's leave that for today. Thank you, and those that now want to go, please go.